Oh, her warning.
Yeah, this is a girl who says that man
well,
has trouble.
This did happen to me, and it was a he. And I went right ahead and married the guy, and it was Gary.
Please subscribe. It means a lot to me and costs you nothing. Lucille Ball was known everywhere as the fiery redhead who built Desilu Studios and changed television forever with I Love Lucy. But the power she gained behind the scenes showed her something way more unsettling. The true personalities of people the public thought were pure Hollywood royalty. Before she passed, Lucy opened up about 7 actresses she believed were truly evil, not on screen but in real life, and the first name she ever mentioned was the one that chilled her the most, Joan Crawford. People worshipped Joan Crawford like she was a walking diamond, the queen of old-school glam. But Lucille Ball saw right through the shine and the perfect lipstick lines. To her, Crawford wasn't mysterious or complicated. She was someone who hid a cold spirit behind expensive gowns and a smile that never reached her eyes. Lucy once whispered to a close friend, "All she has is glamour. Underneath is nothing but ice." That wasn't drama. That was Lucy's honest read. Everything came to a breaking point in 1971 when Crawford guest starred on Here's Lucy. The moment she stepped on set, Lucy felt the whole room freeze up. And not just emotionally. Crawford demanded the studio stay exactly at 68 degrees, insisted her chair be angled at one perfect position, and told lighting techs to shape the lights around her bone structure like she was about to shoot a royal portrait. Lucy didn't even argue. She'd dealt with divas before. But what came next hit her deep. A wardrobe assistant, only 22, but clearly an adult trying to build her career, brought Crawford a dress with one tiny wrinkle you could barely see unless you squinted. Instead of correcting her calmly, Crawford went off. Witnesses heard her hiss, "You are a useless little nothing. Toilets would be lucky to have you." The assistant ran out crying, shaking so hard she could barely talk, and then Crawford demanded she be fired immediately. Lucy stepped in fast and refused, straight up refused, and that single moment marked the beginning of a private hatred she never let go of. She protected the assistant, but she never forgot the look in Crawford's eyes when she realized Lucy wasn't scared of her anymore. When cameras rolled, Crawford switched into charm mode so fast it was like watching someone hit a light switch. She became warm, gracious, funny, sparkling like she'd never raised her voice in her life. But the second the red light cut off, she dropped the act and turned stone cold again. Lucy later whispered, "I've worked with department store mannequins who felt more human." That wasn't an insult. That was a diagnosis. To Lucille Ball, cruelty toward people with less power wasn't just a bad trait. It told you exactly who someone really was. And in her eyes, Crawford failed that test in every possible way. No amount of diamonds or elegance could hide the coldness she carried. Until her final days, Joan Crawford remained the one woman Lucille Ball believed was truly unmistakably evil. Judy Garland, the beautiful chaos that Lucille Ball could never forgive. Whenever Judy's name came up, Lucy's whole energy shifted, not with hate, but with a deep, tired disappointment that came from years of watching chaos spill into every room Garland stepped into. Judy's darkness didn't come from cruelty. It came from a softer place, a wounded place, but the destruction it caused was real, heavy, and impossible for Lucille to forget. Lucille had known Judy since their MGM years, back when both were still fighting to be taken seriously. She admired Judy's voice, her raw soul, her once-in-a-generation brilliance, but she also saw the side the world never wanted to believe existed. Lucy watched the mess Garland left behind whenever she arrived late, arrived shaky, or didn't arrive at all. She once admitted to a close friend, Judy was magic, but magic that burned the stage down. And she meant every word. One story stayed burned into Lucille's mind forever. A TV director told her about a shoot in the 1970s where Judy was scheduled for 5 a.m. sharp. The entire crew, lighting, grips, camera, makeup, showed up on time, ready to make a masterpiece. And they waited and waited. Hours passed like molasses until Garland finally arrived at 2 p.m., glowing, apologizing, smiling like a star walking straight out of heaven. Then, out of nowhere, she delivered 30 minutes of pure perfection, the kind of performance that reminded everyone why she was a legend. But just as quickly as she lit up the room, she dimmed it again. Judy suddenly announced she was too tired to continue and walked out, leaving the crew stunned. The next morning, 3 crew members got fired because the project was now behind and bleeding money. Lucille's frustration didn't come from resentment or ego. It came from survival. She had clawed her way through Hollywood by being disciplined, reliable, and professional in an industry that tossed women aside the second they slipped. Watching Judy waste her blessing while innocent people suffered for it made something inside Lucy snap. She didn't hate Garland. She hated the destruction that followed her. At a private dinner, Lucille said straight out, "Talent doesn't excuse destruction. And with Judy, someone always got destroyed." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't say it out of malice. She said it like someone who had watched too many people lose jobs, sleep, and sanity because Judy couldn't control her life. Lucille never confronted Garland publicly. She wasn't that type, but she quietly stepped back and made sure she would never be tied to one of Judy's productions again. When Garland passed in 1969, Lucy mourned the brilliance but not the chaos. To her, Judy wasn't evil in intent, but the damage she caused was deep, real, and unforgettable. And then came Ava Gardner, the beauty Lucille Ball said was savage beneath the skin. What kind of woman makes Lucille admit she enjoyed the hurt she caused? Only Ava Gardner, a star with a face that could stop traffic and a personality sharp enough to cut straight through someone's pride. Ava wasn't messy like Judy. She was intentional, controlled, and far more dangerous in Lucy's eyes. The feud between Lucille Ball and Ava Gardner didn't start with some harmless misunderstanding. It started with Ava going after people she viewed as beneath her. Lucille saw that side of her with her own eyes one afternoon in the mid-1960s during an MGM wardrobe fitting. A young adult assistant, clearly nervous but trying her best, brought Ava a freshly steamed dress. A tiny patch of oversteaming had softened one seam, barely noticeable unless someone was looking for a reason to complain. Ava's reaction hit the room like an explosion. She stared the assistant down, cold and steady, then said slowly, "Don't bother fixing it. You can't fix incompetence with more incompetence." The girl froze on the spot, turning red with embarrassment, unable to move or speak. Lucille watched from a few feet away, feeling her stomach drop. This wasn't diva attitude. This was someone enjoying the domination. Later that week, Lucille vented to a confidant, admitting, "Ava didn't make mistakes. She made victims." And that was exactly how she saw her from that day forward. The tension between them only grew worse. At a Hollywood cocktail party, someone casually mentioned Lucille's name during small talk. Without hesitation, Ava smirked and said loud enough for half the room to hear, "Oh, the washed-up clown. She's still working?" The room went silent. Some people gasped, others stared at the floor. Ava didn't care one bit. The cruelty rolled off her tongue like it was entertainment. Lucille wasn't shocked by the insult. She was shocked by how much joy Ava seemed to get from delivering it. She later told a friend, if she hadn't been beautiful, no one would have tolerated who she really was, and that thought stuck with her for decades. Ava Gardner's beauty aged into legend, stamped into old Hollywood history books, but Lucille's memory of her aged into pure disgust. Until her final years, whenever Ava's name popped up in documentaries or magazines, Lucille would mutter the same sentence under her breath, "People have no idea what she was behind the face." To Lucy, there was nothing misunderstood about Ava. She knew exactly who she was dealing with. Then there was Bette Davis, the talent Lucille Ball swore cut people for sport. Bette was worshipped for her acting, admired for her intensity, feared for her tongue, but Lucille saw something else in her. She once asked privately, "Why does she enjoy hurting people so much?" With Bette, Lucy didn't need years to figure her out. The sharp edges were right there, exposed from the very first interaction, and they never softened for anyone, not even Lucille. The hostility between Lucille Ball and Bette Davis didn't grow slowly. It was instant, sharp, and unforgettable. Their worst clash exploded at an industry dinner in the mid-1960s, and Lucille never shook it off. She was sitting only a few tables away when Bette suddenly snapped at a young adult waiter who accidentally served the wrong wine. The whole room froze as Davis snarled, "Do you even know how to read a label, or is that beyond you?" Her voice sliced through the air like a knife. The waiter apologized again and again, trying to keep it together, but Bette kept going. She dragged it out, savoring every second of the humiliation, like it was some twisted stage performance. Lucille sat there stunned. This wasn't stress. This wasn't diva panic. This was intentional cruelty delivered with a smile. And once Lucy saw that side of her, she knew exactly who Bette Davis really was behind the talent. Later that night, Bette spotted Lucille across the room and lifted her glass in fake friendliness, like nothing ugly had just happened. Lucille didn't lift hers back. She'd seen enough. She later told a friend, "Crawford was cold, but Bette enjoyed inflicting the wound." And to Lucille, that joy, that pleasure in hurting someone powerless, was unforgivable. Lucille respected talent more than almost anyone in Hollywood, but she had zero tolerance for people who used their power to crush those just trying to survive. She once said, "Greatness should protect people, not break them." And Bette violated that rule every time she opened her mouth. Lucille and Bette existed in the same city, the same era, the same circles, yet they avoided each other like oil and water. Even decades later, when tributes or retrospectives invited them for joint segments, Lucille refused every single time. Then came Zsa Zsa Gabor, the woman Lucille Ball said was fake down to the bone. The second Zsa Zsa's name came up, Lucy didn't sigh or groan. She laughed, not a kind laugh, a knowing laugh. Lucille didn't fear Zsa Zsa. She didn't envy her beauty, her furs, or her spotlight. What she truly hated was the fraudulence she carried like perfume. Zsa Zsa wasn't just dramatic. She was a walking performance, a woman who used charm as a weapon and treated people like props she could toss aside. Lucille's disgust started at a charity event in the late 1960s. Cameras flashed as Zsa Zsa floated into the room dripping in diamonds and wrapped in fur, smiling like royalty stepping onto a balcony. But the moment the cameras turned away, everything flipped like a switch. A volunteer politely guided her to a table, and Zsa Zsa snapped, "I don't sit with peasants." Lucille saw it from across the room, and that one sentence was enough to make her skin crawl. But the worst moment came minutes later. Another volunteer, barely 20 but still an adult trying to help, accidentally brushed against Zsa Zsa's coat while passing behind her. At that tiny mistake, Zsa Zsa whipped around, eyes blazing, preparing to unleash another insult with the same venom she used on anyone she didn't consider worthy. Lucille knew right then she wasn't dealing with diva energy. She was dealing with someone who thought kindness was optional, respect was negotiable, and other people existed only to hold up her spotlight. Instead of offering a simple correction, Zaza leaned in close and whispered something that made Lucille Ball's skin crawl. With a sweet smile, the kind that looked friendly from far away but felt poisonous up close, she said, "Sweetheart, you touch my coat again, and I'll make sure you never work an event in this town again." It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was quiet, sharp, and threatening, like she'd practiced it. Lucille felt sick watching it happen. Zaza didn't deliver the threat like anger, she delivered it like charm. That was the part that messed with Lucy the most. Later that night, she vented to a close colleague saying, "Nothing about her is real, not the accent, not the elegance, not even the kindness." And Lucille meant every word. For Lucille, fake kindness was even worse than open cruelty. A cruel person showed their cards. You knew where you stood. But a fake person? A fake person could disarm you with a smile, fool the room, win people over, and still slice you down when no one was looking. And in Lucille's eyes, Zaza lived in that fake world full-time. Even decades later, when Zaza slapped a Beverly Hills police officer in 1989 and turned it into national news, Lucille wasn't shocked at all. She just shook her head and said, "There she is, the real one." To Lucille, Zaza never changed. The glamour was real, the diamonds were real. But the heart behind it? Lucille believed it was just another costume. She never forgave Zaza, not because of one moment, but because of the pattern, the threats, the fake charm, the way she treated people she thought wouldn't matter. To Lucille Ball, the most dangerous kind of evil wasn't the loud kind. It was the kind that smiled while it stabbed. Now that you've heard all 7 names Lucille Ball exposed, which one shocked you the most? Do you think Hollywood still hides people like this today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your take might surprise everyone. And if you want more untold stories from classic Hollywood, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and join Golden Scape so you never miss the next reveal.